What time is the Iqama?
15 minutes now. Anwar Ali in the UK, Assalamu alaikum. Are there any ways to know when your nafs is gravitated towards fitna and ruling is gravitated towards fitna? Are there any ways to know when your nafs is gravitated towards fitna? And what is the ruling of spitting outside of ibadah?
Question is from London, from Anwar Ali. Is there any way for you to know that your nafs is gravitating towards fitna? And what's the rule on spitting outside of ibadah? As far as is there a sign that the nafs is gravitating towards fitna, then it doesn't matter. The Muslim is commanded to make jihad on nafs. Period. Something is a specific fitna, something is a general fitna, something is in front of you, or something that your nafs gravitates towards, or something that you're inclined towards. What's important is you make a general jihad on nafs, general tawbah, general isti'adha against all haram, all vice, all evil, kufr, shirk, nifaq, everything. And if there's something that you see that your nafs is gravitating towards more than others, and it's an infatuation for you, or an obsession for you, or a weakness for you, or something that happened to you, or something that you used to do, then you have to tighten up on that more. And you have to make the specific supplications, remove yourself from the situation, do whatever you can and have to do to avoid falling victim of that aspect of weakness of your nafs. If you like to talk a lot, or backbite, or lie, or get into fights and arguments, whatever that thing is, okay? As far as the ruling on spitting outside of ibadah, then there are rules of spitting inside of ibadah. If a Muslim has to spit in the salah, there's a ruling for that. It's not haram to spit in a prayer, as long as it isn't towards the qibla, and as long as it isn't on the right side. Obviously, we live in 2019. 2020 is fast approaching, and Allah knows best if we'll live to see that year. Most masjids have carpet in them. You're not going to spit on a carpet. But if you're praying outside, or you're praying on gravel, and you have to spit, some dust is in your mouth or something like that, that's one thing. You spit on your left side or under your foot. If you have a handkerchief, you pull it out, you spit on your left side. So that's in salah. So outside of salah, it's permissible to spit, but it shouldn't be towards the qibla, inshallah. And you should be mindful of spitting with regards to the etiquette and the culture of where you're from. Would you spit in front of an old lady? Would you spit in front of someone you're trying to call to Islam? What does it look like when you spit in front of someone's door, someone's property, so the sidewalk? People have to walk in that. Well, heck of that. Wallahu alam.
Initials OP, San Diego, California. What is your opinion on sitting in halaqat where books like Fajr Salah are read?
Question is from San Diego. What is your opinion regarding sitting in halaqat in which books like Faza'il al-Amal are being mentioned? We've previously explained our view and our opinion about the book Faza'il al-Amal. And those who like that opinion or dislike it, that's their problem and that's their issue. If you like it and agree with it, alhamdulillah. And if you don't like it, you don't agree with it, then that's fine as well. Okay? The book Faza'il al-Amal, like other books, it has things in its favor and it has many things against it. At the end of the day, sit in the halaqah of beneficial knowledge, of sound knowledge, of authentic knowledge. Okay? That's my advice. And there's so many different books of hadith that could be read in a halaqah, which are more sound, more authentic, simpler and easier to be understood, such as Riyadh al-Salihin. That's an excellent book. You can't go wrong with Riyadh al-Salihin. All right? Bulugh al-Maram, you can't go wrong with that. Summarize Sahih Muslim, Mishkat al-Musabih. You can't go wrong with those books of hadith if you want to have a halaqah and read and have a study circle and the general Muslims sit around and read hadiths. There's nothing wrong with that. But it should be in a circle, in a sitting of sound knowledge, authentic knowledge. And most importantly, with regards to Faza'il al-Amal and other books, is that we have to realize, brothers and sisters, is that we have to prioritize. Okay? Fazal al-Mal, for argument's sake, one could say it's a good book, it's a beneficial book. Who are you to come along and say don't read the book? What is your status of knowledge? How old are you? Scholars, people have been reading this book for many years. How many people became Muslim and learned through Fazal al-Mal? Who are you to just destroy it? You have to prioritize. For argument's sake, that Fazal al-Mal is a good book, but are there books which are better? Are there books which are sounder? Are there books which are easier? Hakada. And a very important aspect of seeking knowledge and of giving admonition and exhortation is prioritizing. Prioritizing. This is a good book, but there's a book which is what? Which is better. It's a good teacher, but there's a teacher who's what? Who's better. You have to prioritize the knowledge. Wallahu alam.
California. For the sake of Allah. What's the ruling on saying Allah Akbar after Fajr Salah? May Allah bless you with my wife. Say Ameen.
Fajr Salah?
Yeah.
Tayyib. Question is from Richmond, California. What is the ruling on saying Allahu Akbar after the Fajr Salah? May Allah bless you, and may Allah Azza wa Jalla love you. What is the ruling on saying Allahu Akbar after Fajr Salah? You say whatever the Prophet ﷺ said after Fajr Salah. Allahu Akbar, Astaghfirullah, Allahumma anta salam. Based off of the hadiths that are mentioned. And the Salah before, during, and after is based off of the Sunnah of the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. What do you want to say or do specifically before? Has to be based off of the hadith. What you want to do and say during the salah has to be based off of the hadith. Nothing else. Nothing else. And what you do after the salah has to be based off of the hadith. Nothing else. Not this imam's statement and this person used to do this. La ba'sa, it's okay. No. Ma warada bihi al-athar. The Prophet ﷺ said this supplication. He encouraged others to make that supplication after the salah. And that's it. The best guidance is the guidance of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wallahu alam.
Initials OP, San Diego, California. Should one leave a janazah burial when bid'ah begins, for example, reading Quran over the grave, conjugational dua, talking to the one in the grave, etc.?
Tayyib. Question is from San Diego. With regards to making or leaving the funeral, leaving the graveyard, the gravesite, because innovations are being practiced. I would say it depends on the innovation. Something in which no ulama has ever said, they've never supported, there's no hadith for it, it's just straight up bid'ah. And it's open, it's public, it's ugly, you have no voice, you have no say-so, you've given the deceased Muslim his rights. That's one thing. An issue of ijtihad, wa alaikum salam, is one thing. You may take the correct view, or you may take the view that's strongest to you that you shouldn't recite Surah Yasin. But it doesn't mean that there's no ulama from the Sunnah who haven't said that that's the Sunnah. Iqra'u ala mawtakum Yasin. There's a hadith that supports that. And some scholars of hadith call the hadith Hasan. Some of them say that it's Hasan. Some of them hold the view that it's Hasan. It's not like it's something which is totally made up, bogus. Do you understand? So we have to understand something that when it comes to different practices of innovation and marriage and funerals, I need certain things are clearly made up, no question. And certain things is ijtihad, such as using dhikr beads. Some scholars, they say it's permissible to use dhikr beads, and there's a hadith that supports that. And others, they say it's bid'ah. So you don't have to use dhikr beads, and you could consider dhikr beads to be a bid'ah, but it doesn't mean that it's the same level of inkar with regards to other things which la asla laha, have no basis. So it has to depend on what's being done, how much knowledge you have, do you have the ability to say something without making things worse, etc. What's important is if you don't feel comfortable and you don't feel like that you have the ability to make inkar with your voice, it's best to leave. Do that which makes you feel comfortable and you feel safe in. Wallahu alam.
Just KE matches UK. If two hadith are contradicting, then what does the layman do if tafsir is haram?
Question is from where?
Manchester, UK.
Today. What time is the iqamah? Right. Question is, if there are two hadiths which are clashing and the layman considers it haram to make taqleed, what are you to do? we have to understand something, brothers and sisters, and that is, just because a person believes that taqlid is haram doesn't mean that they're mujtahid. It doesn't mean that you're mujtahid now. But a person may say and believe that a person must make ijtihad and understanding to the best of his or her ability. And not I pick the hadith and take this and do what I want as if I'm a mujtahid, mustaqil. There's a difference between the two. Those ulama who say that taqlid is haram, it doesn't mean that they're saying that every single Joe, Tom, Dick and Harry, Zayd, Bakr and Amr Muslim is mujtahid. Doesn't mean that. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Yani, try your best to take the view and the opinion based off of what you know, from what you get from the scholars of Islam. And not just, I'll take this because Shafi'i said it and that's it. Bin Baz said it and that's it. Khalas, I don't even think about it. No, that's the difference. So therefore, you try to take the hadith which has the precaution. One hadith says don't face the qibla when you do this, and the other hadith says you can face the qibla when you do it. Try your best, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, to stay away from it, avoid it, and take the necessary precaution. Just because a person considers taqlid to be haram, it does not mean that you're now mujtahid. There's a subtle difference between the two. Wallahu a'lam. طيب, we'll stop here. Sallallahu alaihi wa sallam wa barak ala abdi wa rasulihi nabiyina wa imamina Muhammad.